Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Chitty. I'm Director of Technical Services for Crossville. I'm here to talk to you about where we are with porcelain tile panels. For us is this category of material, Laminam. So as a little bit of overview, we've been working on standards for this category of material for a long time. And we're finally at a good place where we are introducing standards, and we think this is really going to expand the market for this category. Especially, we think it'll open new doors for new types of installation once some more standardization is in place. So a little bit about what I'm going to talk about. Very briefly talk about the different types of manufacturing of these type of materials, a little bit about the product standard that's coming, a little bit about the installation standard, and some areas of use of these type of materials. So a little bit about how these products are made. Currently, there's two main technologies on the market, Laminam technology from System and Continua Plus technology from SACMI. Both of those differ from traditional tile pressing technology in the way that they eliminate the mold. The technology that we use for Laminam is Laminam technology. It's been around longer, a little more widely used in the marketplace, but both of these we're seeing. There is a third comer to the market, but we're not seeing any products produced from it yet. So basically what the difference is with traditional pressing, you take powder, porcelain body powder, and you put it into a die mold in order to form the shape. What this new technology does is it really eliminates the mold in the process. So it's the same clay sand and feldspar turned into a pressable powder, but not delivered into a die mold that restrains to make the shape. The latest version of this technology from System is called LAMGEA. It's a 50,000 ton press. Normally in our factories we use 5,000 to 7,000 ton presses, but it's pressing such a large piece of tile that the force that you use really has to go up. So this latest version of LAMGEA, 50,000 tons, able to press a piece about 5¼ feet wide by 15.7 feet, and pressing thicknesses, excuse me, up to 3 to 30 millimeters. Continua Plus is the SACMI technology, and the main difference is one compacts between two steel plates. That's the Laminam technology, while Continua Plus compacts between these two large steel drums. So do we have standards yet? I'm happy to finally say that we are in the balloting process of standards. After almost 4 to 5 years of work on the product standard, pretty much 2 years to work on the installation standard, we were able to bring both standards to ballot simultaneously. So currently we have ANSI A137.3, it's the product standard, and ANSI A108.19, the installation standard. Currently in the balloting process, we've got about a month left, and we're optimistic that we're going to be approved. So what does the standard say? The standard covers products from 5 millimeters to 6.5 millimeters for floors, and products from 3.5 to 4.9 millimeters for walls. With or without mesh, and the standard includes ways to test the mesh. The drafted terminology in the standard, so a lot of people know this category of materials as thin porcelain tile or reduced thickness, which is what our handbook calls it now. So the new terminology is gauge porcelain tile up to a square meter, and gauge porcelain tile panels/slabs for a square meter and over. And that's really just a recognition that these materials are getting thicker, so the term thin doesn't really apply. And also a recognition that some people are going to market with the term of tile panels, some with the term of tile slabs, the more Eurocentric term. It's a consensus-based process, so both terms ended up being in the standard. So this is what we'll see the new name. Probably, a lot of people will still continue to call it porcelain tile panels in marketing and in our own literature. The standard will address it as this new terminology of gauged. So the standard includes a whole bunch of information. It's very comprehensive. It was we wrote it to be able to stand alone in its process itself. So it covers all types of, from what it can go on to how it should go on, even all the way through the finished process of workmanship and handling. So there are a few different sections. I just want to highlight a few of them. In the beginning section, we talk about existing substrates and what the substrate tolerances are supposed to be. These are really no changes in this information. This is the same surfaces that we put tile over today, including tile over tile surfaces. Substrate flatness is hugely important. As tiles get larger, substrates need to be flatter, but the new standard has exactly the same information that we already have for any tile over 15 inches in length. So Nothing changes. Substrates don't need to be flatter than what our current standards say, but they do need to be the same as our current standards say. There's information about material handling. These pieces are very large, and in its thinnest format's flexible. So the standard addresses things like using frames with suction cups in order to keep the pieces stable during the installation process. Mortar and mortar mixing is hugely important. It's a lot of installation process to deal with, so the right ways of mixing our setting materials and getting them applied is a current part of the new standard. The actual application of the mortar to the substrate, techniques and types and timing are all covered by the standard, and they're important aspects to the process of the installation. You can see things like here, overspreading the mortar, minimum bond coat thicknesses, making sure that all the ridges are straight across the board so we can control lippage and we can control proper setting bed. The standard goes through how to actually embed the tile, goes through a process on floors of actually embedding the material by walking, on walls using a vibrating sander or a bead-in paddle. So it is very similar to how we install tile now, with a new detail, with some new information because of the size of the material itself. So where are these materials being used? Mainly walls for the 3mm category of the material, floors for the round 5. The new standard will address 5mm to 6.5mm on the floor, like I said. Exterior, the standard that we're writing is for interior, bonded with thin-set cement mortars at the current time. But there are a lot of exterior installations going on and a lot of interest in exteriors. There is some information about building code that you need to check with when you're talking about using large size pieces, and some other things that you want to check with your tile manufacturer about for things to consider when using tile exterior. So obviously one of the categories that we see really being exploited with this material is tile over tile. There's a thin enough nature to this material that you can go over an existing floor without having to change, elevations and door jambs and that kind of thing. So it's a huge potential in the marketplace for us to not have to rip out existing installations, but go right over them. Non-traditional uses like modular construction. More and more things are being built in a warehouse and then taken to on-site, and they're looking for materials that are lower in weight, have more flexibility, and can work in that type of environment. RVs and boats are also in that category. So in those applications, you're looking to have very lightweight materials that can really bend and flex in those type of environments, and these are perfectly suited. Showers without grout joints, obviously, and then we're seeing tile starting to be used against traditional surfaces. So did we ever think that FRP or laminate would be a competition to tile? But now, in those applications where those materials get damaged very easily, you can use a much more durable surface and accomplish the same thing, including solid surfaces. So in summary, always talk to your tile manufacturer, and it's important, it's a system, to your setting material manufacturer about the right applications, the right materials to use. Make sure the tile that you're going to use is approved for its intended use. Not everything's okay for a floor or a wall, not everything's okay for an exterior. They're a great opportunity for a contractor to set themselves. Training is hugely important. We push qualified labor immensely. We offer training, other setting material manufacturers offer training. It's really not something, even if you are the best tile contractor in the world, if you don't have the experience of the right tools and techniques to handle this material, we can't be successful together with it. But if you do, you can kind of separate yourself in this early stages of the market. So work with all of us, practice with the tools, including substrate preparation. Not enough contractors know about floor leveling products and how to do that. Get some classes on that because these are really big tiles. We've got to have the right substrate. But if we use all the tools we have at our disposal, everything can go really well and we can create some really beautiful spaces. Thank you very much for your time.